good.
We all need to be a little bit careful when making investments during this pandemic and opt for instruments and vehicles which are safe and can generate steady returns. So, to find out more about investing and learning how to do it properly during the pandemic, let's connect online with our guest for today. She's a financial planner. Her name is Metta Anggriani. Good morning, Bu Metta.
Morning,
Hello,
Metta.
good morning, Paul and Marissa.
Yeah,
Morning.
first of all, before we get into the sort of like what kind of investment should we choose during the pandemic, could you please tell us why people should invest or should not invest or should invest?
All right. Yes, that's good. The first thing we need to understand is why we need to invest. Here we talk about the personal finance, right? So we talk about our life, we are human, yeah? We have needs and we have wants. And when we talk about our needs, we don't talk only about our presence. We talk about the future. What do we want from the future? What do we need in the future, right? But again, we talk here not only about the money, but we talk about time. So we talk about our lifetime, yeah? So like, for example, the Indonesian people, our lifetime spans about 70 years old, right? So we have to live quite long, but we have a limited productive years. For example, most people start working at their 20s, but then they get retired when they get 50, 55, 60. So we have about 30 years of to be productive, but we have a longer time to live. So that's why we need to save money. We have to invest, because not only for our needs for now, but also our needs later in our golden years. So that's why we have to invest. That's the only way to do.
Right, now we understand why we need to do it. Now we need to know how we can do it. And I'm sure you've encountered this question a million times, so I'll just ask it once again. Is there a safe or stable investment instrument, especially since we're in the middle of a pandemic?
Well, yes. Actually, when we talk about investment is actually the advanced form of savings. When we were kids, we were told to save money. So the saving money is that when we allocate some money for a special purpose, so normally for a short term. So that's the habit that we actually develop, right? We developed to always allocating some money for a purpose later. But when we get used to it, then we're now thinking about longer term. So we talk about investment, yeah. But so we talk about more longer time. We talk about how to get a higher returns, and also when we get more advanced, we talk about the risk, how to manage the risk. Well, now we're talking about the pandemics. When in the pandemics, we know there's so many uncertainties, right? We cannot expect one thing, and the predictions is always unbelievable right now. So, but as human, what we need some securities, we need some stability, so that our needs can be fulfilled, not only for now but also for later. So, in order, when we want to get stability, we're actually looking for a risk that can be managed, a low risk. But again, when we talk about uncertainties, the pandemics, it's a very high risk situation right now. So, the best investment during the pandemic is that when you can measure the most risk that you can absorb based on your own capacity. So that's when the best way is when you can also manage between the risk and return, because in investment there's always a risk and return. When you want a high return, it's a high risk. Sure. It's always they always go in the same direction. It's never go apart. Yeah. So you have to really manage that. Yeah.
No such thing as a high return, low risk investment. Otherwise, that's all we'll be doing.
I'm more like a low risk, low return kind of person. Anyway, Metta, what do we need to think about or need to pay attention to before investing our money? Like, for example, what are the checklists? What are the PR, the homework, before we decide to invest?
Okay. First is that when we want to invest, we have to know our goals. I mean, like, what do we need the money for? Is it, for example, is the education fund for our kids, or we want to have a new home, or this is for my retirement funds? Anything. The goals can be anything, because then when you know the goals, you know the time horizon. You know when to achieve that. Is it for short term? Is it for medium term? Or is it for a longer term? Once you can know all that, then you can choose the instrument. What's the right instrument that can manage your goals? And after you know what's the instrument you need to do, you really have. The second thing is you really have to understand that instrument. Like for example, if this is for short term, I can go for a deposit account. So you know how to open the deposit and how to redeem it, so you can get the fresh money as soon as you need. But if you talk about the long term, maybe you want to go to the stock market. You really have to understand how the stock market works, because otherwise you don't know how to manage your money, right? Yeah. And then the third thing is, the most important thing is, you know where to put your money. I mean, like, if you want to invest your money, to which institution? Is it legal or illegal? I mean, like, does it have a good reputation, and also the history? Because it's the only money you have, right? You don't want to lose it. We have to manage the risk. One of the risks is to, if it not grow as we expected, and the highest risk is that when we lost our money. So we have to really know where to put the money.
But I was thinking about what you were saying earlier about risk, and we've been hearing that a lot. Now, I guess the reason I haven't been able to decide what investment would be best for me is I don't know how to measure my own risk level. For example, like, is there a questionnaire? Is there some kind of way I can measure my own risk? I guess a risk assessment for my own personal self as to how much I'm ready to, or how much I'm willing to risk when it comes to my investments. Because I have a rough idea, but I can't really pinpoint it. Am I low risk? Am I medium? Well, sometimes I'm medium risk. You know what I mean? It all depends.
Yeah, true. Yeah, actually, when you want to open an investment account, you will be given a set of questionnaires that you need to fulfill. But in the very simple way to say it, first you have a risk preference. That's your taste of, I want a high return money, so maybe I'm aggressive. But like Marissa said earlier, maybe I'm a low risk person. It's okay for me to have a low return. So you are more conservative. That's the very easiest way to look at, right? But then you also need to be fair, to be honest with your own money. Like for example, if my salary is in average people person, so maybe you don't have that capacity. But what if you have a high salary you are working in a very high profile company? Maybe you are more you have more capacity for that. But what if, for example, if you have more children to take care of, so maybe you have to be very conservative in that. So there's a lot of factor when you have to calculate your capacity.
It's situational as well,
Yes.
I see.
Yes.
That makes sense.
And what the third thing was what, Metta?
The third thing is that, again, when you know already what instruments that you want to invest, the instrument itself has the risk that is carried, right? For example, the deposit account is a very low risk. The stock market is a very high risk. So you know what you're targeting. So is it aligned, your preference, your capacity, and the risk of the instrument itself? So you have to measure those three.
This is great. Thank you so much, Metta, because sometimes people, I don't know, it's like I assume that this is only an assumption, but a lot of young people actually want to immediately get wealthy, so that's why they would just invest their money. But maybe considering their age, they're still starting out in their career. Maybe the salary is not that great at the moment. Yeah, exactly. But they just want to get really wealthy very quickly, which is unrealistic at all. So this is a great tip. Definitely, it's like you have to know your capacity. It's like how much you're making, and you choose the kind of investment that is actually suitable to your profile. So you mentioned earlier about some of the instruments that people can invest in. For example, like in stocks or in deposit. What other instruments are there for people to choose for their investment?
Well, as a financial planner, I have to talk very not conservative, but but in the real one.
Yeah.
If when you go to a financial market, you have to understand the regulations there.
Yeah.
So again, there's a low risk instruments like deposits, golds, yeah. So you can go conservative on that. On the other hand, there's a stock that is a very high risk. But in the middle, you have if you are moderate, there's a medium risk like bonds, or maybe you can go to mutual funds, the fixed income bonds.
But I was wondering as well in regards to property. Since we were little, everyone's always saying, "Hey, buy property whenever you
buy
can.
land, buy land.
buy property." Is that still valid, even though we're in the middle of a pandemic? What is the market like? I know I just sold a house recently, and I was fairly happy with the price we got. We happened to find a buyer that did need to find a house here in Jakarta.
Nice.
So yeah, and I'm wondering, I wonder how the housing market is, because I've heard various reports. Some people are saying, "Oh no, we're not going to get the price we want," while others are saying, "No, this is the perfect time to sell your house because there is a market for it."
Well, yeah, property is always an option. Yeah, like you said, the traditional way, the traditional people maybe they look for properties or goals that is called the real assets. Real because you can look at it, you can touch it, and you can live in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But now the market has evolved. So the financial product has evolved. So now people can invest not only with the big amount of money, but they can start with the small amounts. And the proof is on the paper. So it's called the paper asset. So yeah, you can invest in the real assets, or you can invest in the real in the paper asset. For property, there is also a good option of investment, but again, the value is quite big, right? You need a big amount of money for that, and it's not liquid. So if you need to cash out the property, you have to sell it, and the process may take long, and it depends on the market. Like right now, they said the property is going low now. Many people selling the property, but maybe some people, like Paul said, he's lucky because he can sell the property at a good price. So again, there's a lot of factor how you can sell it, and you have to find a good one. Is also, you need a long process for that, but it's an option. And again, when we talk about property, it's also our needs, right? We have the needs to have a good home, to be safe. So it's good to have property right now, but you have to manage your cash, because again, in the situation of the pandemic, you just don't need to have. You not only need about the good investment, the big investment, but the balance of the cash that you need.
Okay.
And that's why I decided to stay liquid for some of it, bought a smaller size.
Yes.
That's a good decision, Paul.
Never know what's going to happen.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Mbak Metta, for sharing with us on how to be wise, I guess, financially. And
thank you for simplifying it a little bit, because every time I ask my friends about this, they get into all this, deep dive into finances. I just kind of need a beginner's guide to start, so I know where to get started.
Exactly. So thank you so much, Mbak Metta Anggriani, for sharing your knowledge on this. You stay safe and stay healthy.
Take care. Thank you.
All right.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.